Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND. Today I'm doing a Q&A on sensorimotor OCD. This is a type of OCD that's less talked about, and I'm getting a lot of questions on it because people just don't know what to do when they're stuck in this situation. The first question is, please talk about breathing OCD. I have been suffering from it for months. Any exposures about it? So since you're breathing all the time, the exposure would be to breathe as you normally would. So the exposure is breathing, right? But it's breathing as you normally would without doing anything specific and trying as much as possible not to focus on it. You're already focusing on it kind of by default, but the more you feel for it or trying to get the right breath, you know what I mean? The right amount of air. It's hard for me to get into specifics on this question because I don't know what your actual fears are when it comes to the breathing OCD. But whatever your OCD is telling you to do, so you have to breathe again to double check, or maybe you're breathing too fast, or you need to take in more air, whatever it tells you to do, the more you follow what it's saying, the worse your OCD is going to get. Believe me, this is an OCD thought. I'm sure you know by now that this is a very, very common OCD thought. So the further you get into it, the worse it's going to get. So you can't allow yourself to do that. You really have to monitor yourself hour to hour. So say for example, first hour, right? In the last hour, how much energy did I give to the thought? How seriously did I take it? Did I do any compulsions such as breathing a certain way or counting the breaths or whatever, right? Am I doing that? Am I trying to compare my breathing to other people's breathing? Am I looking up stuff online to do with breathing, right? Are you doing anything that has to do with breathing that people generally would not do? And whatever you're doing, I'm sure there's at least some of the things that I've mentioned, right? You have to choose to refuse, And as I say in all my videos, right, that if you're just doing just a little bit less each day, it's not all or nothing situation. You're in this position of OCD and it's been here for a while. So it's not like it's just like gonna abruptly stop, right? It's gonna take time to retrain the behavior, retrain your brain, right? It's a process, But if you do 5% less each day, in 20 days, you will be down to zero, Now, I get it, there's setbacks, it's not really kind of always perfect. There's going to be days where you take a step back, there's going to be days where you just didn't make any progress, even if it's 5%, you just didn't make any, and that's okay. But even if you add a few extra days, so say it's going to be 30 or 40 days, but in that time you're going to be down to zero. And so if you're not feeding the anxiety anymore, from that point, it's just you're waiting for your brain to refocus and to reduce the anxiety, right? But at that point, you're not powering it up anymore, and that's what's really, really important. Next question is, this is from a different person, but also about breathing OCD. I have breathing OCD. Also, I fear I'm going to stop breathing. I have a heart attack or something else bad. I take several deep breaths throughout the day. That's my compulsion. Okay, so kind of what I was saying in the previous question, right? Not allowing yourself to do the compulsions. It will feel to you like you're taking a chance, like you're jumping out of an airplane with a parachute that may or may not open. I promise you, it will open. But if you don't jump, you will never know, right? So it's just one of those things that, you can see even just from your experience, right? From talking to other people who have had similar OCD, that, you're not the only one dealing with this. This is a common issue. You need to choose to move forward. You need to choose to take that chance, because it's not really a chance, but it feels to you like a chance. So you have to step over the fear, take a chance, and not do the compulsion. And I highly doubt that this is your only compulsion. If a person says, no, this is my only thing, usually there's a lot of analyzing involved. So this might be your only physical compulsion, but you might be spending a lot of time thinking about this situation and worrying about heart attacks. You might be looking up stuff to do with heart attacks, or to do with what if people stop breathing, all of this kind of stuff. So all of these things are just driving the situation deeper. So try not to do that. And again, 5% a day, that's really all it takes. That's how I recovered. That's how most people recover. From time to time, I see people recover really fast, but honestly, it's rare. People recover just a little bit more, and then I find that they'll do 5% each day, and then when they get to about 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10 anxiety, starting at 10 out of 10. So when they get like to 5 or 4 out of 10, then there's just not a lot of fear there anymore, and they can just move a lot faster through the recovery. So, and then I find that towards the end, when the person gets to 1 out of 10, a lot of the times they don't finish the process, so they'll leave it at 1 out of 10. And that's not a good thing to do. And I always tell this to all my clients, that you have to finish the recovery work. Because if you leave that little bit of OCD where, it's really not bothering me, I can live life, I'm not really worried about it, but you still have that little bit left, that's still going to continue to get you, So you really have to choose to refuse and really get it to a 0. So there is nothing bothering you left. Next question, another person said, I also have a breathing OCD for about 2 years, but it shifted to blinking OCD, and I have it since July. Not sure what will be a good ERP for blinking OCD. You know what? It's very similar to this, where you have to make sure that you're not doing any of those compulsions. So not trying to figure out, are you blinking too much? Are you blinking not enough? Should you blink more? Trying to blink a certain way? All of those things. It's basically monitoring yourself hour to hour of how much you're doing that. You see, I'm not psychic. I just know a lot about this. Other person writes, I've had blinking OCD before. I counted my blinks every day for about 4 months until my OCD switched to something else. So this is a different person writing, but this is a perfect example where the person focused so much on blinking OCD, then they got some other OCD thought, mentally switched to that, right? And because they did what I'm asking, right, is they refused reaction that has to do with blinking anyways, and it went away. But the problem is that they refused reaction because they focused the reaction on something else, and that was not good. So you have to make that choice, This is the end of part 1 for Sensorimotor OCD Q&A. You still have a chance. If you haven't asked the question that you wanted to ask, please leave it below my previous video, and I will answer it tomorrow. Or if you have an additional question, if you asked a question but you feel like you need to ask the second one, please go ahead and do so. I do want to make sure I answer all the questions, because I find that with Sensorimotor OCD, there's just not a lot of information out there right now, and I get questions about it literally all the time, here and there in email, so I kind of just want to gather them all here and answer them as much as I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. I will do videos on other topics, so it's not only about Sensorimotor OCD. I just do daily videos, and I wanted to do Q&A on specific themes because I find that that's important. If you would like to do the recovery program, as always, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.